God's Ideal Family and the Kingdom of Peaceful Ideal World 2. Respected ambassadors for peace, leaders from all walks of life, distinguished guests from home and abroad, and beloved blessed families. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all of you for your efforts to realize peace for all humanity, and especially for your support of the Universal Peace Federation. As you may know, after the coronation ceremonies at which I was acknowledged as the King of Peace, held both in United States Senate Office Building and the Korean National Assembly in 2004, I founded the Universal Peace Federation in New York City on September 12, 2005. On the basis of those victories, on June 13 of this year, we held the entrance ceremony for the Chonjong Peace Palace and the coronation ceremony of the true parents as the King and Queen of Peace in heaven and on earth. These were each steps toward the establishment of the substantial kingdom of heaven on earth, the Chonil-gu. Ladies and gentlemen, immediately after the inauguration of the Universal Peace Federation, I embarked on a world-speaking tour that took me to 120 nations. My wife, Dr. Myung Moon, inherited the victory of that first world tour and went on successfully to complete the 180-nation tour, declaring God's message in the capacity of the true parents. Through this tour, which took her around the entire world over the past 6 months, and she and our sons worked together seamlessly, fulfilling the providence of mother-son cooperation. As a true parent accompanied by true children, she declared the word and officiated together over the World Peace Blessing Ceremony. Through this, she restored and offered to heaven the realm of the lineage and the realm of Cain and Abel unity, both of which had been lost by Eve, the mother of the first human family. Ladies and gentlemen, August 20 of this year was the 21st anniversary of my release from Danbury Prison in the United States, which was the last of 6 unjust incarcerations I have had to endure during my lifetime. My release on that day signified victory over imprisonment on the worldwide level and the attainment of the realm of liberation and complete inner freedom. To commemorate that significant day and to welcome and congratulate my wife on returning from her recently completed world speaking tour, I hosted a global level peace rally in Korea. More than 30,000 core leaders representing 1.2 million ambassadors for peace and leaders from 120 nations gathered and strengthened their resolve to realize world peace. Now, on the foundation of the success of that providential event, I am traveling to every corner of the world with 3 generations of true parents' family in the capacity of the King of Peace in heaven and earth, in order to proclaim this message. It contains the secret of heaven, which God has sent down to humankind in this era after the coming of heaven. Distinguished leaders, can you sense the intense heart with which I am taking up this world tour? As I approach my 88th year, I do not know when or where I might collapse along the way. I have already put my life on the line to embark on this world tour, and it may be that it will be my last. I am revealing the secrets of heaven. This might be the last words that the true parent who has appeared with heaven's seal leaves to humanity. I sincerely ask you that you open your hearts and engrave these words of heaven upon them. May you have the wisdom to uphold these words as the standard for your life and pass them on to your family and clan, your descendants, and the people in your community. Ladies and gentlemen, my speech for today again has the title, God's Ideal Family and the Kingdom of the Peaceful Ideal World, as it is a summary of the message from heaven that I've conveyed to the 6.5 million people of the world during the past year. My purpose is to remind you once again of your role and mission as seen from the viewpoint of God's providence and of the importance of the age in which you are living. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout history, people have continually worked for peace based upon human effort alone. Consider the confrontation between democracy and communism. Outwardly, the difference between the two was the extent to which they recognized and ensured individual rights and freedoms. Yet, from the viewpoint of God's providence, communism and democracy are like children who have lost their parents. The two divided into the positions of Cain and Abel, respectively, and became trapped in the shackles of fraternal conflict. Throughout history, peace movements inevitably reached their limits and ended in failure because they were organized by imperfect human beings. This is why the United Nations, although launched with the splendid dream of realizing world peace, today must admit its inherent limitation and confess that it can no longer give hope to humanity. This is simply because the United Nations was launched during the era prior to the time when God could directly govern the unfolding of His providence in history. Now, however, it is entirely possible for the Universal Peace Federation to fulfill its mission to unite heaven and earth and form the kingdom of the peaceful ideal world. This is because it represents God's victory and the fruit of true parents' blood, sweat, and tears. Therefore, the Universal Peace Federation is the world's cherished hope. It will carry out the role of a Abel-type counterpart to the existing Cain-type United Nations to renew the United Nations and provide the leadership for a new sovereignty of universal peace known as Chonilguk. Therefore, please bear in mind that you as leaders from throughout the world are given the heavenly mission to build God's substantial homeland, which is nothing less than the ideal that God envisioned at the time of creation. Respected leaders from around the world, what do you think is God's ultimate purpose for creating human beings? Simply put, it is to experience joy through relating with ideal families filled with true love. What does an ideal family look like? When God first created human beings, He made Adam representing all men and Eve representing all women with the intention that they become owners of true love. Then, what was the quickest way for them to cultivate a character of true love? In a word, it was to secure a parent-child relationship with God, whereby they could live in attendance of God as their Father and form a model family embodying God's ideal of peace. They were to have followed the path of living as one family with God, experiencing eternal joy. God created Adam and Eve and installed them as the first ancestors of humankind to form the model family and realize the ideal of peace. He committed Himself absolutely to raising them as His son and daughter to be joined with Him in true love, true life, and true lineage. Therefore, if Adam and Eve had achieved individual perfection in accordance with God's will, that is, if they had achieved the perfection of their character and then entered into conjugal relations with His blessing, they would have achieved complete oneness with Him. God would have dwelt within their union. Their children would also have been linked to this holy order of love and enjoyed a direct relationship with God as their parent. In other words, the marriage of the perfected Adam and Eve would have been God's own marriage. God is forever God, but at the same time, Adam and Eve were to have become His incarnations. They would have become God's body, and God would have settled inside their minds and hearts. He would have become the true parent of all people in both the spiritual and physical worlds. Do you know what has pained God's heart most, causing Him the greatest grief during the long history since the fall of Adam and Eve? God lost His lineage, and with that, God lost the basis of human brotherhood and even His ownership over the creation. God's lineage is more precious than life itself. Without it, the fruits of true life and true love never matured. They became instead the fruits of Satan, lacking any relationship with heaven. From them descended the 6.5 billion people now populating the earth. Ladies and gentlemen, lineage is more important than life and more precious than love. Life and love come together to create lineage. Lineage cannot be established if either life or love is missing. Therefore, among the three, love, life, and lineage, lineage is the fruit. God's lineage contains the seed of true love. God's lineage provides the context, and environment for a true life. Hence, for us to become the ideal people envisioned by God, that is, people of ideal character, and to create ideal families, we first need to be linked to His lineage. To take it a step further, only when we are linked to God's lineage, it is possible to create God's homeland, the ideal nation. Only when we are linked to God's lineage, it is possible to establish the kingdom of the peaceful, ideal world. Please inscribe the importance of lineage in your heart. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is because the parent-child relationship is the highest and most important of all relationships, and the lineal relationship between parents and child is the only way through which God's lineage can be bequeathed and made to last forever. You must be clear on this point. However, it is false love, false life, and false lineage that had infested the world. God's love, life, and lineage fell into the hands of the adulterer Satan, the enemy of love. Heaven and earth were suffocated and transformed into hell. The world became a wretched place, far from God's presence. Yet to this day, people live in ignorance of this. People are deluded into believing that the lineage of the enemy is the lifeline upon which the world depends. This is the wretched truth about humankind, who are descended from the fall. That is why we refer to this world as hell on earth. God views humanity's tragic situation with a heart full of pain. Furthermore, when, due to the fall, Satan gained control of the realm of lineage, he also usurped the right of the elder son and the right of ownership. God is like a father who worked and sweated his entire life to accumulate assets for his children, only to have a thief steal everything in one night. Who can comprehend the sorrowful, painful heart of God? God lost his lineage, lost his children, and was forced to hand over the ownership of the nations and world to Satan. There is only one way to recover the realm of lineage, the right of the elder son and the right of ownership. This is the path to win the natural subjugation of Satan, to have Satan surrender voluntarily. What is the secret to accomplishing this? It is only possible through the power of true love, when we love our enemies more than we love our own children. Then, what is true love? Its essence is to give, to live for the sake of others and for the sake of the whole. True love gives, forgets that it has given, and continues to give without ceasing. True love gives joyfully. We find it in the joyful and loving heart of a mother who cradles her baby in her arm and nurses it at her breast. True love is sacrificial love, such as that of a devoted son who finds his greatest satisfaction through dedicating himself with all of his body and mind to helping his parents. When we are bound together in true love, we can be together forever, continually rejoicing in each other's company. The power of attraction of true love brings all things in the universe to our feet. Even God will come and dwell with us. Nothing can compare to the value of true love. It has the power to dissolve the barriers fallen people have created, including national boundaries and the barriers of race and even religion. The main attributes of God's true love are that it is absolute, unchanging, unique, and eternal. Whoever practices true love will therefore live with God, share his happiness, and enjoy the right to participate as an equal in his work. Therefore, a life lived for the sake of others, a life of true love, is the absolute prerequisite for entering the kingdom of heaven. Ladies and gentlemen, what kind of place is the kingdom of heaven? In brief, the heavenly kingdom is a world of overflowing with God's true love. True love is its axis. True love is everywhere, in the outward expression as well as in the inward thoughts. Everyone's life is filled with true love from beginning to end. In the kingdom of heaven, people are born through true love, live in the embrace of true love, and follow the track of true love until the day they pass on into the next world, the spirit world. The kingdom of heaven is a natural world where all people live for the sake of one another. Consequently, antagonism and jealousy cannot be found anywhere in that world. It is a world that is not governed by money, position, or power. There, the success of every person represents the success of the whole. The likes of every person represents the likes of the whole. And the joy of every person represents the joy of the whole. The kingdom of heaven is a world filled with the air of true love, where everyone breathes true love. Its life throbs with true love. Everyone and all the time, the citizens of that kingdom are all linked together through their common membership of God's lineage. There, the whole world and all its people are connected in an inseparable relationship like the cell in our bodies. True love, the love that God possesses, is heaven's only governing power. Accordingly, God also exists for true love. Ladies and gentlemen, you should now devote yourselves to practice a life of true love. Can you love God more than Adam and Eve did? Can you love God more than Jesus did? By thoroughly actualizing true love, you should bring your mind and body into perfect harmony. You should perfect a true family consisting of 3 generations of grandparents, parents, and children living together in true love. If you do this while you are on earth, you will be eligible to enter heaven. When seeking after the lost ideal of the original family, there should be someone in the position of perfected Adam, someone in the position of Jesus, and someone in the position of the Lord of His second coming. From that starting point, we can establish the family in which God will dwell. In that family, 3 generations, grandparents, parents, and children, will live in harmony. Parents and children should serve and attend the grandparents because they represent the family's ancestors, its historical root. Ladies and gentlemen, the family sets the pattern for living together in harmony. The warm environment of oneness based on love and respect between parents and children, mutual fidelity and love between husband and wife, and trust and mutual reliance among siblings is the manifestation of the model ideal family of peace. This means that you need to establish a true family wherein the stem of true love emerges from the root of true love and bears the fruit of true love. Such families contain the living root of history and the roots of the kingdom of heaven. In such families, the kingdom of heaven on earth takes root. They are the soil in which God's everlasting kingship is firmly planted. The grandparents, parents, and children represent the roots of the past, present, and future respectively. The root of the past represents the spirit world. The root of the present is the palace representing the world today, and the root of the future establishes sons and daughters as princes and princesses. By establishing such families, we are erecting the palace of peace, representing the harmony of the 2 worlds, the spirit world and the physical world. In this manner, the 3 generations of grandparents, parents, and children should live together as one family and serve the eternal God. God desires to see such families, and it is your responsibility as tribal messiahs and ambassadors for peace to seek after this and establish them. Families of Chonilguk, the kingdom of God. Ladies and gentlemen, you should form families that God will miss and yearn to return to after He has been away. You should feel comfortable to visit your home like any parent coming to visit his or her children. This is what it meant to live in service to God. Within such a family, God is the vertical subject over your conscience, and your conscience is the vertical subject over your body. Thus, unity with God brings your mind and body into harmony. Family members who have established that vertical axis can perfect the 4 realms of love and heart: parental love, conjugal love, children's love, and siblings' love. That family links all directions above and below, front and rear, right and left. They revolve around each other in everlasting spherical motion. This is God's everlasting model, ideal family, which expand to ideal model nation and His peace kingdom. If only the entire world were filled with such true families. It would be an orderly world where people govern themselves by the heavenly way and heavenly laws. No need for lawyers, prosecutors, or even judges. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our bondage to the lineage of Satan has caused so much suffering throughout history. Let us now boldly step forward to sever it and be grafted onto the root of the lineage of the true parents. Why should we foolishly continue to live and die as wild olive trees? A wild olive tree, even if it lives 1,000 years, will only continue producing the seeds of more wild olive trees. Where can we find the path to escape this vicious cycle? It is through the Holy Marriage blessing. The Holy Marriage ceremony offers the grace of being grafted onto the true olive tree. It was instituted by the true parents who bring God's true lineage to humankind. Once you change your lineage to God's lineage, your offspring will belong to God's lineage naturally. The holy blessing is received in 3 stages: rebirth, resurrection, and eternal life. Once you receive the true parents' holy blessing, you can give birth to pure, sinless offspring and build an ideal family. The best way to do this is through a cross-cultural marriage blessing. These marriages contribute to the innermost task of transcending the barriers of race, culture, nationality, ethnicity, and religion, and to creating one family of humankind. In God's sight, skin color makes no difference. God does not recognize national borders. God does not stand behind the barriers of religion and culture. They are nothing more than the devil's tricks. The devil has used them to rule over humanity's false parents for tens of thousands of years. You have the mission to teach the members of your families and clans that the cross-cultural marriage blessing is the ultimate means to establish a peaceful, ideal world here on earth. Your families and clans should all join the holy ranks of those participating in the holy marriage blessing. Ladies and gentlemen, the path is now open wide for you to change your lineage through the holy wine ceremony that the true parents have instituted. The blessing is yours, either as newlywed couples or as already married couples, that you may establish true families. Indeed, I am speaking to the world, advocating that all humanity complete the chains of lineage through participating in intercultural marriage blessing. These marriages also restore the original family order by enabling those who are Abel, relatively closer to God's side, to take up a leader's role and the position of the elder brother. The cross-cultural marriage blessing is by far the best way to restore human beings to become the children of God. It is the greatest of moral acts because establishing people in God's lineage raises them to be a whole new level. It is the right that severs all bonds of enmity. It is the most sacred right, converting our lineage to God's lineage and recreating us through the true parents. They are the King and Queen of Peace, the manifestation of God in substance, who enable Him to carry out His providence in the present world. I have dedicated my entire life to teaching the path of living for the sake of others. This is the practice of true love. As a basic principle, it applies not only to individuals but to all levels, from the family to the society and to the nation. In this light, I would like to reiterate the proposal I have made for a truly providential and revolutionary project for the sake of peace and human welfare, and the building of God's homeland and original hometown. From the historical point of view, the divisions of our world into East and West, North and South were wrought by Satan. I am proposing that we build a passage across the Bering Strait that separates the North America and Russian land masses. This passage, which I call the World Peace King Bridge Tunnel, will connect an international highway system that will allow people to travel on land from Africa's Cape of Good Hope to Santiago, Chile, and from London to New York across the Bering Strait, connecting the world as a single community. Distinguished peace ambassadors and leaders from all fields of life, you are now living in the most blessed and exalted time in history. The era after the coming of heaven has arrived. I proclaim the beginning of the new heaven and new earth, long awaited and yearned for by billions of your ancestors in the spirit world who have come and gone throughout history. This is the era of the kingdom of the peaceful ideal world. The four great religious founders and billions of good ancestors have come down to earth to guide you on the heavenly path. The age when the fallen and corrupt world wreaks havoc on humankind, allowing evil people to live better than others, is passing away. Our ultimate purpose is to find and establish the nation that seeks to do the will of God and whose citizens all serve God as its center. What would that nation be? It would be the kingdom of the peaceful ideal world. It would be a nation resembling the form of a true family, with 3 generations living together in harmony, trusting, respecting, and supporting one another, and becoming one in love. In short, it is the nation humanity has desired throughout the ages, the utopia where God is sovereign. This means we need a movement to realize a society of interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universally shared values. We must make humankind into one great family by breaking down the walls in our hearts and eliminating even the boundaries between nations. This movement begins from each family. Therefore, we should all bear in mind that it is our providential calling to establish a true family. This is the way we can advance the establishment of the universal peace kingdom on earth. Indeed, all this is coming to pass. In the Middle East, one of the world's tinderboxes, Jews, Christians, and Muslims have found the resources in my philosophy of peace to engage in a new dimension of dialogue. In past decades, my unification thought played a decisive role in ending the Cold War. Now I am successfully leading behind the scenes efforts to bring about the reunification of my homeland of Korea. But I am not yet satisfied because I began my life's work at the command of heaven. I have come as the true parent of humankind with God's anointing, and I am determined to keep my promise to Him. I am determined to obliterate all national divisions and barriers that have poisoned this earth, and to establish the kingdom of the peaceful ideal world where all people everywhere can live hand in hand. The era after the coming of heaven that God and true parents have opened is a time of dramatic change. You have the mission to make this era blossom and bear fruit in blessing and glory. Therefore, please become heaven's emissaries, fulfilling the dual missions of the Peace Kingdom Peace Police Force and the Peace Kingdom Corps. Serve humanity under the banner of Universal Peace Federation, which is working to take up the role of an Abel-type United Nations. Worthy citizens of the world, if not you, then who will nurture and protect the blessed families and the blessed planet Earth that God has given us? Ladies and gentlemen, I have said that in the era after the coming of heaven, we must recover the true lineage that was lost after Adam fell, by receiving the marriage blessing through the true parents. The providence of the blessing should be perfected through 5 stages: the individual, the family, the tribe, the nation, and the race and the nation. In this way, let us fulfill our divine mission as blessed families in the era after the coming of heaven by restoring and establishing the ideal 3-generation family on the world level. This is the same purpose for which Jesus came to the earth, and which he sought to accomplish before passing from this world. Therefore, I am now leading all tribal and national messiahs to unite and bring to a final end the improper relationship between the political sphere, representing the Cain realm, and the religious sphere, representing the Abel realm. With this providential will in mind, I have declared that a second Chonjong Peace Palace for the religious sphere be established in Geneva, Switzerland, a city with a significant history regarding the relationship between the religious and political spheres. The Mongolian People's Federation, representing 74% of the world's population, should bear in mind that the providential age is now upon us, in which it should fulfill its duties by restoring the world through the blessing on the national level. This will bring to a close the conflict between Cain and Abel, which had its beginning within humanity's first family. Ladies and gentlemen, the providential time has now come when we have the mission to unite the two sons, Cain and Abel. It is by true parents' love that they can become one. Then, having recovered their original positions, they should dedicate the restored original ideal family before the true parents, the King and Queen of Peace in heaven and on earth. Please take to heart and engrave this in your mind. You are living at a time when God gives you the mission through restoring true ideal families to offer before heaven the realm of the siblings' love and the right of ownership that were given over to Satan through the fall of our human ancestors. Please become true princes and princesses who live in attendance to God as your true parent, for He is the Peace King of the multitudes. Let us build the everlasting peace kingdom by attending the true parents, who have become the King and Queen of Peace in heaven and on earth. Let us build the world of eternal liberation and freedom, where there is no need for a Savior, Messiah, or Lord at the second coming, and fulfill the path of a true, devoted child, a patriot, a saint, and a member of the family of God's sons and daughters. In so doing, let us inherit true parents' victory, their completion of the restoration through indemnity on the realm of the 3 generations, that we may perfect this original world as it would have been but for the fall. Let us establish model ideal families to bring the completion, settlement of the universal, ideal realm of liberation and complete inner freedom. This will be the kingdom of goodness in which we enjoy absolute, unique, unchanging, and eternal peace and prosperity. It will become the homeland of universal peace, exalted in praise for all eternity. May God's everlasting blessing be upon your family, your nation, and the world. Thank you.